Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the man colloquially known as Rhapsody, and this is Magic 2014. I'm going to be playing some of the multiplayer campaign. Yep, it's my campaign. I am going to beat every single person on Earth. Or at least such is my goal. Just waiting for an opponent here. Probably going to go with Avacyn's Glory. It's the first deck that I fully unlocked. I've played through the entire campaign with it. It's probably the strongest mono-white deck in the entire 2014 set, if I had to choose. Come on. Come on, come on, come all lambs to the slaughter. No one, really. Alright. So here's the part where we twiddle our thumbs for a while and wait for an opponent. I'll probably just go through some of the key things that I'm going to be looking for in an opening hand with Avacyn's Glory. I'm going to be looking for 3 or more mana, because getting mana screwed on this deck can be a huge problem, especially because I have a large amount of the higher end creatures, which are the 5+ drops. The reason I have the 5+ drops, by the way, is because they're incredible value. I mean, the Baneslayer Angel in this is 5/5, 4/5. It's flying, it's got protection against demons, and one other card type, I can't remember exactly. It's got First Strike and Lifelink. That's also really important. And then there's, of course, Increasing Devotion, which is 5 cost initially, and I believe 7, it might be 9, for the flashback cost, which summons 5 1/1 humans to the board, or 10 1/1 humans on flashback. Should be 9, if I remember on the flashback cost there. Which is 7 colourless and 2 white. Come on. Come on. I feel like I'm fishing. There's also a bunch of other decks that I could consider. Oh, no, wait, here came an opponent. Ready up, the Duke. Are you prepared to face Avacyn's Glory? This isn't a really good opening hand. It does have a Champion of the Parish in it, which is really nice. I have 4 of them in my deck. They get a +1/+1 counter every single time I summon a human to the battlefield. So I'd really like more mana, but hell, if I drew 3 mana off this, that's an Increasing Devotion. That's a very strong Champion of the Parish. I'm gonna draw new hands. Oh, god no. Wow. Right, so I don't recommend mulliganing ever if you're me, because it's clearly bad. Ooh, and he's playing a black deck, so he's probably got removal. At least I got a 2-drop, that's nice. Protection from werewolves and zombies. So if he's playing Deadwalkers, I have a really good card against that, and he's going to have to Doomblade it. Because he's just got outright protection, vigilance, and First Strike. Ooh, this is good. This is very good for me. So that's a zombie cap, so it means I've got protection against it. So he can't even block with it. He's just going to take 2 damage. Ooh. I'm not interested in discarding a card from my hand, especially because I'm at such a card disadvantage. So I'm actually going to Fiend Hunter that. I know you might think that's a really low value target to do that against, but I'm really behind in card advantage considering he has 8 to my less than 8. What I'm looking here for would be a Baneslayer Angel would be really good. Of course I'd need 1 more mana to cast it. So this turn I can attack him for... Ooh. Damn. Okay, so his card advantage is just getting higher. So he's getting much, much closer to a really high likelihood of being able to remove one of my creatures. And if he removes the Fiend Hunter, he gets his cat back. Now, I played the Gold Knight Commander. I'm just going to resolve 3 damage on him here. I played the Gold Knight Commander, which means that every single time a creature enters the battlefield under my control, that turn, all of my creatures get a +1/+1 pump. So I played that because I can play Gather the Townsfolk next turn, which is going to give all of my creatures a +2/+2 pump because it summons 2 1/1 counters. 1/1 counters, I mean. Ooh. I think I'm going to give him his cat back. Yeah. That's definitely the right play. This guy is too important. This guy's too important. He can have his cat. So that's a really good card as soon as I get 1 more mana, but for now, this will do. And you'll note that that pump does also apply on the creature itself. So he can double block my Gold Knight Commander here. I'm a little concerned that he will, but if I draw the mana off the top of the deck, I'm going to be playing the rest of the game, usually, I'm going to be playing the rest of the game entirely with the Angelic Overseer, because he's going to need 6 mana before he can cast his first flyer, which is the Nightmare card. Double block? No. Okay, so that was dumb. If you look up dumb in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of Mark Sorrentino, the Situation, from Jersey Shore, but if you look really closely, he's holding up a picture of me. I had just discarded the basically Hail Mary that I had in my hand. Death Baron. Okay. So he's no longer going to be afraid to attack with the... Oh no, he still will be. Now he's no longer going to be afraid. I think I just gave the game to him. Yeah, I'd really like some Exile to deal with the Death Baron. Unruly Mob's not going to do it, but it will mean that he... Yeah. I'm tempted not to attack with the Gold Knight Commander. Actually, I won't. So if he blocks with either of those, he loses his creature, I lose mine, but I also get a +1/+1 counter on my Unruly Mob, which is going to stay. Okay, so it's interesting that he did it with a 4/2. I know the 2/2 is more important, but at the same time, why not get the 4/2 back? Perhaps he has a Resurrection? Cruel Revival, maybe, considering that he's at 6 at the moment. Entirely possible he could Cruel Revival my... am I thinking of the wrong card? Cruel Revival. Kill a card and take a card from the graveyard? I think I'm thinking of the wrong card. Okay, so that's Mikaeus the Unhallowed. This is a problem. This is definitely a problem. So the rest of his creatures now have Undying, which means that when they die, if they don't have a +1/+1 counter on them, they'll come back to life. That's a good card for me to get. Don't think it'll be enough. It's not smart to attack there, because you can just block. Mikaeus the Unhallowed. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. Whenever a human deals damage to you. Okay, so that's a really good card for him to have out on the board now. Basically, at this point, if I don't get Angels, I lose. Because if any of my humans deal damage to me, they die. I took the Mikaeus original out of my deck, I believe. But he's got Diet Mikaeus, or... Ooh, Corrupts. So that's going to be my... yeah. That's a smart play. I think... What can save me here? What can save me here? A mana into an Increasing Devotion. So that's the first step of that done. I'm not sure he knows what Undying means, because if he did, he'd probably attack with the Death Baron knowing that I have to block it, or that if I want to block it... Oh, okay, so that's not even going to save me now. The Increasing Devotion, that is. Oof. Okay, so I'm in a really, really bad spot here. Yeah, I think I've lost this one. I had a really good early game. What could I have done better? I could have drawn better cards. That would have been nice. Oh, okay, so demons and dragons. I thought it was dragons. Now, he's used 2 Doomblades already and a Corrupt. And a Fleshback Marauder, so that's a lot of removal used. This Baneslayer might save me. Maybe. I think it's too little too late, though. Demons and dragons. Okay, so that's not going to help me against his deck at all. Oof, fuck. Sacrifices X creature, costs it for 2. Right, I sacrifice each of my creatures. Yep, I lost. He of course leaves the Lord of the Unreal because that allows him to summon back them just by tapping it and paying 1 colourless and 1 coloured. Also that had Undying at the time, so it came back as a 4/4. Yeah, that was really unfortunate for me. Okay, so that'll be game. Bit disappointed in how that went. Deathcloud's really, really good. Just in situations where you want to break the stalemate. And that's really all he could have done at that point, break the stalemate using that card. It's at huge cost to yourself, but especially when you have Undying creatures or you've already got a decent board set up, you don't have to worry. Yeah. So I don't like that, man. I'm tempted to show my displeasure by changing to the Chant of Multiah deck and attempting to reverse him. No, he left. Okay. No, I think I'll keep all of these videos at a mono deck pace, at least for the moment. So I'll continue with Avacyn's Glory. I'll play at least 3 games. See if we can get through those. All of them are going to be single player versus single player, which I suppose is 2 player. I'm not particularly fond of 3 or more players in a Magic game. You usually find that 2 people decide that one person is a threat and then they go in, or everyone builds up their forces at the same time until there's a huge stalemate and one person has flying or unblockable and then wins. Or has flying, unblockable, attacks other creatures, leaves themselves open, and then loses. It's just not interesting. There's not as much strategy in it, in my opinion. Or at least when you're playing with friends. There's not that much strategy. Calendriniston Keep. Okay. I'm going to call him Keepsy. So I've learnt my lesson about mulliganing. So even though I don't have a champion of the parish, I don't have the strongest opening that I can have, I do have a large amount of creatures from the Gather the Townsfolk and the Doom Traveller that I can sack, and in doing so I can buff up my That's a Jace. So a lot of people like to choose the most overpowered decks and then just play them. I can't obviously argue I'm playing a pretty powerful deck. I'm going to attack. No, I'm not going to attack. If he attacks, I'm going to block him with the Doom Traveller, which is going to trigger my Unruly Mob. The problem here is that he has Unsummon, so he can remove all the counters that my guys get on them at any point. But that's still the correct move to make. Blocks 2 damage from coming in, also triggers its +1/+1 counter and gives me a 1/1 flyer. Which is good, but it looks like he can't block a flyer at the moment. Okay, so that has first strike. I'm more interested in playing that than I am in gathering the townsfolk so I can sack them, because playing the townsfolk later will boost up my Geist Honored Monk, because it gets a +1/+1 for, or at least its power and toughness is equal to the amount of creatures on your side of the battlefield. So I'm going to make this attack, because if he attacks him with his bear next turn, I do have a first strike creature. So I'm defended at least against that. I'm wary of an unsummon, but if he wants to burn an unsummon on the Inquisitor, then he's completely allowed to. I would endorse it heavily. 3 mana. It looks like he didn't have a Lord of the Unreal last turn, which is what I would be really scared of. Lord of the Unreal into Phantasmal Image. Lord of the Unreal is a human wizard, which... Okay, go for that, that's fine. Lord of the Unreal is a human wizard, I believe. Human wizard? It should be. That gives a +1/+1 to all illusions. I believe all other illusion creatures you control, and also makes them hexproof. But the problem with getting that... yeah, I'll do that this time. The problem with getting that and the Phantasmal Image is that the Phantasmal Image is a 0/0 creature which, when played on the battlefield, can copy any other target creature. And it becomes that type and an illusion. So that Phantasmal Image becomes a illusory human wizard, which gives +1/+1s to illusions and hexproof. No, the biggest weakness of illusions, obviously, is the fact that they can be sacrificed as a result of targeting a spell or ability on them, but the creature copying it doesn't count. So I'm just going to attack him with all. I need to end this early. I think I misspoke before when I said Lord of the Unreal is other illusion creatures. It's not other illusion creatures, it's illusion creatures. So when you have a Phantasmal Image of a Lord of the Unreal, it gives hexproof to itself, which is really important because it makes it really difficult to remove that card from the board. Because at that point it's a 4/4, because you've also got the other Lord of the Unreal, 2/2 on the field. Okay, so he's now got flying protection. I'm not so concerned about that, because I do have 3 flyers, so I can still get one past him. Oh, that's really good. So that's an Angelic Overseer. Basically, it's hexproof and indestructible while I have any human on the side of my field. Yeah. So he's definitely attacking. If I attack with that, and he blocks with that, I still get in... I'm going to play it safe at the moment. He should sack the bear. No. Okay, so if I attacked with all, he would have sacked the bear. Oof. Okay, so it's at this point that I'm really lucky that I have that Angelic Overseer, because it's hexproof, so he can't do it to him. He also can't send it back to my hand. So he has no choice but to skip his combat step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Okay, so he can only block 2 of these, and the rest of them have 3 damage between them. I have 1. Unless, like, a random unsummon... Okay, so there's a random unsummon. That's probably going to be on the Elite Inquisitor, if I had to guess. So, what? I'm not sure where his endgame is here. He still loses. Yeah. Down to -8. He probably just wanted to show off that he had a response. Okay, so that was a pretty solid win. he clearly had some mana problems there. Not all players are ready. He's changing deck. I'm still going to be playing the same deck. So he's got like a little bit of an advantage over me, but I do know most of the cards in most of the decks in this game. Okay, so he's just going to leave. Anyhow, he did appear to have not mana problems, just problems. He had one early drop, he had 2 instants and a late drop. He played a total of 4 cards that game. 5, he claustrophobia'd one of my creatures, but he just really didn't have a strong early game in that deck, which is what you really want. You want the Phantasmal Bears, and you want the Lords of the Unreal, maybe some Gossamer Phantoms, which I believe are the 2/1 flyings. So this next match will be my last game for this video. Just trying to explain the choices that I make rather than tell dick jokes, which is originally my plan. There'll probably be a lot more of that in the rest of the Let's Plays I upload. But for this I want to focus on seeing if I can analyse my own play and at the same time help myself get better. Because if you have to talk about the reasoning for your plays, you kind of think about the reasoning for your plays a little stronger. So I'm going to call this a best of 3 versus random opponents. Just see if I can win more than I lose. Come on. So I'm versing the opponent called Waiting, who hasn't readied up yet. Doesn't even have a persona image or a deck. So this should be a pretty easy match. Unless they sub out and give me a character to play against. Come on. Now you know you want to. So this is really disappointing. Isaac Freem. Okay, Isaac Freem. Oh my god, if this is... Okay, so this is, I believe, the world's best opening hand. I don't even want to explain why, you should know. That's going out, that's going out. Next turn is going to be a Gather the Townsfolk, and then the turn after that is going to be a Champion the Parish into Gathers the Townsfolk. And I'm going to have a lot of power on the field. If he's got removal, I'm going to regret this. Although I believe that's one of the card arts for... the unfinished business deck, which is all about discarding your own creature cards and then resummoning them using abilities. No, that's definitely Deadwalkers, exactly. Okay, so this is going to be a problem because that deck has removal, and removal is Satan. So increasing devotion, Jesus fuck. If I get a mana top deck, I could not be more erect. The problem with this is if he does get, you know, some targeted removal, he's going to remove my 6/6 Champion of the Parish. Although he didn't do it that turn, so I'm a little wary that he may not have a Doomblade in his opening hand. Sign in Blood, yeah, he's digging for it. Not sure why. Not sure why he wants to give himself health problems this turn. Oh, if I got a Gold Knight Commander this turn and a Plains next turn off the top deck, I would... I'm not sure why he made that attack. Undying doesn't mean that it comes back after it dies if it already has a +1/+1 counter on it. It's only if it doesn't have a +1/+1. Okay, so that's fair enough, because Increasing Devotion will kill him next turn. Increasing Devotion will make this, say, 11/11, and this a maths. Hell, not even Increasing Devotion will kill him next turn, just having humans on the field. So this is going to be a really quick match unless he... Oh, that's alright. You can do 4 damage to that. I'm really sad about that, you know, that my creature lives. So here's Increasing Devotion. This takes a lot of time. At least I have a really strong champion of the parish now. And another really strong champion of the parish. I'm tempted not to attack, but that's just super bad manners, so I'm just going to send in all of my damage and call GG well played. -17. That's alright. So that'll be the end for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you learn a little bit about the early game synergies you can get in the Avacyn's Glory deck. And I would tell you to like, comment, and subscribe, but that would make me seem like a little bit of a whore, so instead go fuck yourself.